Hey, good night. My name is Meka Albanya Osher Al, and welcome. Welcome to Truth Matters Broadcasting. Truth Matters Broadcasting, where we discern the truth about religion, the kingdom of the Creator, whose name is Yahweh, and, of course, the church. If you are joining us for the first time, you can call this network a controversial network. And the reason why I say you can call it a controversial network is because we don't speak here on things that you want to hear. In other words, we don't speak on things that makes you go, "Oh, that's so nice, well done." No, we speak on things that make your blood boil. We cook your grits here at uh, 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 um, Truth Matters Broadcasting. Why that is because we've been living a life for so long. We've been living in religion, we've been living in the church, we've been living in this government, and we don't have a clue what it means to truly understand truth as it is given by the Creator. And so Truth Matters Broadcasting is where, when you tune in, it's where you can discern for yourself. This is not a broadcast where we're telling you what to think or how to think, what to believe or what not to believe. This is a broadcast where we present the facts. We present the facts to you, and you do with it with whatever you want, because you know what? It's all information. And information is power. Information is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. But what makes it powerful, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just knowing it. It's not just hearing it and knowing it. Knowledge is power when you hear the information, because knowledge is information. That's all knowledge is. It's information. The power comes, ladies and gentlemen, when you comprehend it. When you understand what you're hearing, comprehend what you're hearing, do your own research, pray to the God of heaven, our Father who art in heaven, do your research, put things together, and draw your own conclusion. Your own. That's where discernment comes in. And then to be able to have the wisdom, to carry out the information, or to act upon the information, or to do the information by which you hear. That is what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. So today we're going to talk about, well, before we get into what we're going to talk about, Truth Matters Broadcasting is broadcast on 4 different networks: on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. 4 different networks. So you can catch these programs on Facebook and YouTube. They are logged there. YouTube at Michael Sewell SR. You can check that out there. So don't go now and subscribe and like, share, comment, and don't forget to hit the notification button. And you can find it also on Facebook at Meka Albanya Osher Al. That's my name, Meka Albanya Osher Al. Meka Albanya Osher Al. MaykaAlbanyaOsharal. Meka Albanya Osher Al. Thank you again for joining us. All right, let me just plug this one right in here. So the YouTube channel that I created down here when I got to the Philippines, we're broadcasting live from the Philippines, y'all. Cebu, Philippines, where we know to be the Isles of the Sea. The Isles of the Sea, there are 7,600 islands that makes up the Philippines. There's no place on earth that can be identified as the Isles of the Sea other than the Philippines. We've learned this through the ravenous bird, ladies and gentlemen. You got to check out the ravenous bird, the ravenous bird. This is the man that was prophesied in scripture by Yahweh, by the Creator, long before we even hear or know about a ravenous bird. Most people think today that the ravenous bird was Cyrus the Great, who were edict or were prophesied to set the children of Israel free, and therefore ravenous bird have to be the righteous stranger. But the ravenous bird has to be Cyrus the Great. But what you need to understand, you have to look up the word righteous. And Cyrus was not a righteous king. He may do this one act, which he later on didn't really fund it. But you got to look at what a righteous king is. A righteous king is one who only has one God, one creator as his creator. Well, we know from history, from the Cyrus Cylinder, he didn't worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Therefore, he could not be classified as a righteous king. Because one of the first things the creator tells the children of Israel is that, listen, I am the one who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. So he's the one that first said that to us. So if you have a second God or a third God, or you pray to this and that God alongside the true creator, you can't be a righteous king. You're not even going to be accepted, right? So we know that Cyrus is not the man sent or prophesied to execute the counsels of the creator. We found that man, or that man found us. I found him through praying and asking the creator, what is your name? Because I wanted to know his name, because there were so much names to choose from in my research that I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. There's too much names. I need to know exactly your name. So I prayed about it, and he sent me to the ravenous bird. Now, the ravenous bird was prophesying Isaiah 46 verse 11. So you can go read that, Isaiah 46 verse 11. This is where I know the name of the creator. Yahweh is his name. And that's when I know who I am, in terms of, you hear the name Yahosharal, Yahosharal. And you might be wondering, what is this? Is it a cult? What is this new found religion that everybody seems to be talking about? What is Yahosharal? Well, Yahosharal, ladies and gentlemen, is the true name for Israel. You see, Israel is not the birth name or given name by the creator to our father Jacob, right? Who the father changed his name to Yahosharal, which means prince with God, right? So we are given the name Israel as a way to deceive us to thinking these people that occupies the promised land, occupies Jerusalem, are the true children of the book. We debunk that by understanding that they cannot be the true people of the book. These people who are calling themselves Jews, they're calling themselves Israel, cannot be the true people of the book. Here is how we determine that fact. The true children of Israel, so-called, aka, have to be able to fulfill Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 through 68 to the letter. They have to fulfill the curse to the letter. I can tell you and apologetically say to you that they are not the people that fulfill that book, or they don't have the criteria of fulfilling Deuteronomy 28, 18 through 20. Secondly, they have to have a 400-year history of enslavement. They do not have a 400-year history of chattel enslavement. Thirdly, they have not been brought by ships forth and scattered throughout all the nation of the earth. This is what the prophecy said. They would be brought by ship and scattered throughout all the nations. They do not have that history. There is one people on the planet that have that history and fulfill Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68 to the core. And those people are they that can trace their lineage through the Atlantic slave trade. All 13 tribes, ladies and gentlemen, have to come through the Atlantic slave trade. All 13 tribes. And so if you can trace your lineage through the Atlantic slave trade, you are the lost sheeps of Yahusha. There's a group of people down here today, a group of people that calls themselves the Hebrew Israelites. Of course, they black, dressed up in purple, and they're militant. They got some knowledge, but they lack some understanding. Though they can trace their lineage through the Atlantic slave trade, what they teaches is that the lost tribes is made up of Puerto Ricans, Barbadians, Mexicans, etc., etc. We know that that cannot be true because every single tribe have to have gone through the curse. If the curse miss you for any reason at all, if the curse miss you, then guess what? You cannot claim lineage. You cannot claim that you are the children of Yahusha. All 13 tribes have to go through the Atlantic slave trade. And if you look at Puerto Ricans today, if you look at the history of Puerto Ricans, they don't have a 400-year history, nor being scattered throughout all the nation, every nation on earth on ships. Mexicans don't have that history as well. So you have to disregard them. You have to take them out of the equation. The only people on this planet that fit that curse is those who trace their lineage to the Atlantic slave trade. So through that understanding that Yahweh is his name, not Jesus, not Jehovah, and I've debunked the Jesus thing by learning about the letter J. You see, I learned about the letter J when I Googled the darn thing, when I hear a white man was preaching and saying that Jesus is not the name given by which we must be saved. I was like a little appalled because I grew up Christian. I grew up Christian my whole life. So to hear someone attack the name of Jesus was like a personal attack on me. And I know how some of you could feel right now. You hear me talking about your Lord and Savior. It seems like I'm attacking your belief system and I'm attacking you. Well, I'm telling you, I'm not attacking you. I'm attacking your belief system. Your belief system was my belief system as well. But it will feel like I'm attacking you. I'm telling you just to hold on for a minute. Hear what I'm have to say. Do some research. And then you can discern for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, for yourself, the truth. So when I hear this white man talk about the letter J was not in existence at the time when Jesus was born, I was like appalled because I'm like, I read in my Bible where it tells me that Jesus is the name given to us by which we must be saved. And no one can come to the Father but by him. So if we're going to come to the Father, it has to be through Jesus' name. I grew up believing that. I stood up on that. But then when I do the research on the letter J and realize that the letter J did not come into existence until the year 1524, it changes things for me. It changes things for me. It did not come into existence till after the year 1524, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why does that change things for me? Because now I'm looking at the letter J and I'm looking at the name Jesus, and not only Jesus, but I'm from Jamaica. I was born and raised in Jamaica till I was 17 years old. So I went back to history to see, okay, was at any time the name Jamaica, what was the name before they call it Jamaica? And I realized it was not spelled Jamaica. It was spelled Zamaica with an X. It was Xamaica. And I'm like, wow, so how did Jamaica comes in? Later on, they changed the name to Jamaica. All right. I started to look at this letter J and I'm like, my goodness gracious, Jesus could never be the name. I have to rule it out because at the time of his birth, the angel never said to Miriam, and he shall be called Jesus. Because first and foremost, they never spoke English. They spoke the source language, not these modern Paleo Hebrew language that you're hearing today, but they spoke the true source language, which is called Gabare. That's the original source language. It's Gabare. And so when I found out from the ravenous bird that his name is not Jesus, his name is Yahusha. It changes things for me, ladies and gentlemen. I no longer could go to church and sing, his name is Jesus. It's Jesus. Da, 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 da. I couldn't continue to sing in that name, having the information that I have. Remember, I tell you, knowledge is power, but it's how you wield that power. So I wanted to do more research on the letter J. So, okay, if the letter J was not in existence till the year 1524, then okay, when did it enter the alphabet? So I start studying up the alphabet, and I realized that the letter J is the last letter to enter the English alphabet. Can you imagine that? Then here's the next question. Then how did the hell did it end up in 10th place? Why did it end up right beside the I? Why did it end up by the I if it's the last letter to enter the alphabet? Should it not be after Z or Z for you politically correct? Z or Z or whatever, which one ever. Take whatever floats your boat. How did it end up in 10th place? Why didn't it end up at the end of the alphabet since it's the last letter? They put it right beside the I because they want you to think the I and the J sound have this. The I and the J have the same sound ending. That's why when they write the capital J, they put a little dot on the top of it to make you think that it was there all along. But so now you got to go back to the Greek. You have to go to the Greek who translate the entire Bible in Greek. And one of the questions you have to ask yourself is where do they get the translation from anyway? Can they tell us that the original source language is null and void? Not null and void. It's lost in time. How did the hell, if it's lost, how did you get it? How did you translate it? Where did you translate it from? You just translate it and then you throw away the translation, but we just happen to have mountains and mountains and mountains of translation and transliteration of Greek. Come on, man. Come on. So I start to look at these things and I start to like, wait a minute. So what was he called? Iesus. So he was never called Jesus. Iesus. And if you notice anything about the Greeks always name their gods after themselves, or name themselves after their god. So anything you see with a sus on the end of it is related to Zeus, their thunder god or their lightning god. So when they say Iesus, it's after their god. When you hear Jesus, is after their god. So you have to understand the deception in the name. The deception is in the name. Not only in the name, if you're going to give the Son of God a Greek name, then you have to put the Son of God in the Greek clothing as well, in the Greek flesh. So they make Jesus, this white, blonde hair, blue-eyed guy, the Son of God. As you can see, it is a deception to the core because the true people of God is not of a white ethnicity. They're black. Blue, black, purple, black. All right. And so these are some of the facts that people have to accept if they want to know the truth. The true man of the Messiah was a black man. And if you look at if you look at how he's described in the Bible, he's not described as some beautiful, blonde, tall, nice, beautiful. If you look at how he's described as someone that you wouldn't even notice. So, and of course, he hang on a tree, the curse. There's a whole lot. If you just piece it together, you're going to see the truth. But this is not my topic today. My topic today is Ya'oshar al, a cult or what? That is my topic today. Ya'oshar al, a cult or what? That is my topic. So we arrived at the name Ya'oshar al because we understand that we are the people of the book and that the Father's true name is Yahweh. Therefore, we are named after our Father. It's no different from a man and a wife. A man take on a wife, the wife take on the man's name. You know, we have children, the children take on the man's name. The Creator said, my people are called by my name. And I can tell you there's nobody that has been called after the name Israel. They don't name themselves after Israel. Right? And when I found out, even doing my research on the very name Israel, you realize that Israel is a triune God taken from Egypt and from Greek. So Israel is three God, is a triune God, is a Trinitarian of God. It's pagan in its origin. So the whole Israel, the whole name, everything, even where they are today, is all because of deception. The nation came into play by the Jewish man, the Rothschild. They bought the place, and you don't understand. It's a deception to the core. I'll talk about that some other time. Let's get on to the name Yahweh and Yahushua. So we found out that Yahushua is the 12th tribe of the 12th tribe of Jacob, the 12 boys. Oh, hold on here. So when you find this out and you start to realize what's really going on, ladies and gentlemen, you start to put things into perspective. And when you put things into perspective, then you see the truth. I'm suggesting that you go watch the Ravenous Bird on YouTube, Ravenous. Watch the proper name, the true name of the creator. Then Brought by Ships. Then Keep Silent Before Me Island. And then Leave on Wings. These four topics are going to just put everything in perspective for you. So Yahushua is the true name, the true people of the so-called Israel. So now my question is, what we're going to try to find out right now is Yahushua a cult or not? All right, so let me plug this one in that I was trying to plug in, but I didn't get to plug in. So Now Living in the Philippines is a YouTube channel I started down here in the Philippines, where we're coming to you live. And this channel is centered around us as Yahushua, obeying the scriptures by leaving the cities, leaving the countries of our enslavement to come back to the wilderness, where the Creator will plead with us face to face, where He will show us and restore Thora and Toyota to us. That's the Psalms and the prophets. That's the law of Masha, aka Moses, and the prophets to us. If you look from scripture, if you look in the Bible, and you go from page to page, you will see that every time the children of Yahushua turn away from the Creator and serve false gods, what would happen to them? They end up in slavery. They end up devastated. But guess what happened? Whenever He sends a prophet or restore His commandments, laws, and precepts to His people, what does He do? Always He restored them back to safety and prosperity. And for 400 years, we were lost to the fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28, 15 to 68. But now he's fulfilling His words. He's coming for us. And his commandment is to come out of her, my people, so that you may not be partakers of our sins. So let's look at some things here, because we're going to get into it. Let's get into it, man. Let's get it. In the words of my brother Bakor Yao, he always said, let's get it. Let's get it. So let's get it, man. Let's get it. We have reclaimed our identity. And breaking the curse from the 400-year curse by obeying our Father and getting out of the land of our enslavement. And we are now looking forward to see Him in His glory. My topic today, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining me, is Yahushua a cult or what? Let's get it. So, what is a cult? If you're going to ask the question about a cult, then you need to know what a cult is. So according to the dictionary of Oxford Language Dictionary, a cult is a system of religious venerations, and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. Let me read it again. A cult is a system of religious venerations and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. Let's look at the verb. Let's look at the second here. Let's look at the next one. He says here, a relatively small group of people having religious belief or practice regarded by others as strange or sinister. Look at the third view. A misplaced or excessive admiration for a peculiar person or thing. So this is the definition of a cult: a system of religious veneration and devotion directed to a peculiar figure or object. You know, when I was searching for this true creator, it led me to a lot of different Christian denominations. I joined a denomination back in the days called the New York City Church of Christ. We were called a cult. And the reason why we were called a cult is because of what we do. We believe in going into all the world and making disciples. So we were taking Matthew 28. That's why you hear me when I was saying Deuteronomy 28. I always say 18 through 20 because 18 through 20 is always in my mind from Matthew 28, 18 through 20. You see, that was the command to go out and baptize, to make disciples of all nations, baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teach them to obey everything I've commanded you, and surely I'm with you to the very end of age. So we took that literally and was baptizing people in our pools, in our bathtubs, anywhere there's water, in the river, in the sea, in the freezing temperature in New York City. We were just out there baptizing people. And we had a multinational or multiracial or multicultural group of people, the New York City Church of Christ. Up to this day, I still have a love in my heart for the New York City Church of Christ. I've learned so much about discipleship, so much about the so-called Jesus that I now come to reject. But in my Christian walk, that church had helped me greatly. And I rose up in that church as a Bible talk leader, a worship leader. I preached the message as kind of like a pastor, but I wasn't a pastor. I had all the duties of a pastor, but didn't have the title as a pastor. I really grew up in this church. I become famous in this church because we were planting church all over the world. So my name, Michael Sewell, went throughout the whole of the world. People know who I am. We know when we used to have Zoom, not Zoom, we didn't have Zoom back then. When we used to have like meetings when like on not TikTok, but on WhatsApp and different things, and people used to get across through different Facebook messengers. They always want, where's Mike Sewell? Where's Mike Sewell? We hear so much about him. And the reason why I was famous is because I was a Christian of Christians. I tell y'all, man, I was a Christian of Christians, baptizing people in my bathtub. Let me tell you something, man. I was baptizing people in my pool, going out there daily, meeting people, studying the Bible late at night with people, 12, 1 o'clock with people. So my name was out there, you know what I mean? I was married with 4 children. Well, married with 6 children. 2 didn't live with me, but I had 4 live with me. So I was able to do all of this being married with 4 children. So my fame goes throughout the world. We were called a cult because we took Matthew 28, 18 through 20 literally, and we go out there and do it. So, of course, we're a cult. Then after that, Yahweh, didn't know him as Yahweh yet, so I called him the creator, the father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, took me now through another division called the Seventh-day Adventists. Now, the Seventh-day Adventists, I arrived at the Seventh-day Adventists when I asked the creator, I want to know you. Because you see, I didn't want to be religious anymore. Things was not going well for me. I wanted to know the creator, not by way of a religion or a pastor or a denomination, but I wanted to know the creator for myself. I prayed. I just prayed. I want to know you. And long story short, he led me to the Adventist church. Well, he led me to the first page of the Bible, Genesis 1. And while I read Genesis 1 is when I start to see things I've never seen or never heard in Sunday school, never heard in school growing up. No one taught these things to me. I never know these things. I start to question, okay, wait a minute. If he said the evening and the morning was the first day, and he says the darkness he called a night and the light he called day, how is it that a new day starts at midnight when it's still dark? So that's one of the first questions I asked. All my years of reading the Bible, I never questioned the fact that a new day cannot start at midnight because he called the light day. So if he called the light day, there's no way a new day can start in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night. That's why they call it midnight, because it's still dark. So I realized something was wrong there. And as I read again, I realized, okay, wait a minute. He says first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day. Wait a minute. Where did Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday come from? So I start to look up the origin of the names of the days of the week. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, the Creator only named one day. And he called it Shabbat. Shabbat in the source language. Shabbat, or Sabbat in English. The seventh day which he blessed, hallowed, and set aside as holy. I start to pay attention to these things because I'm like, wait a minute, I never paid attention to these things before. Because remember, my question is, I want to know you, and he brought me to Genesis 1. So there's something about him he wanted me to know that wasn't being taught to me, or may have been taught to me, but taught to me in ignorance or in the past, not done away with. So when you read Old Testament, you read it as if it's no longer applicable to your life today as a Christian, because you're a New Testament Christian. You're not Old Testament Christian, you're a New Testament Christian. And New Testament Christian is, by grace. So you can pretty much do anything because you're under grace, you're not under law. And so all these confusion, I'm like, wait a minute. If you really to stop and think about it, does grace nullify law? Does because I'm under grace mean that I don't keep the laws of God? I mean, that's just common sense. Can I go to my boss and tell him, hey, man, I'm under grace, I'm not under law. Your law tells me I got to be at work at 7 o'clock. I'm under grace, I'm going to show up at 8 every day. Or I'm going to show up whenever I want because I'm under grace. How long do you think you're going to have that job? You know what I mean? When a police officer pulls you over and he gives you grace, okay, you were speeding, right? You were speeding and he pulled you over and he gave you grace, which he said, all right, man, I'm going to let you off with a warning. You take the warning ticket and you just speed up and you go quickly back up to 100 that you were driving before. Will that grace save you? Will the police officer say, let him go, he's under grace? No. You committed murder. And you're sent before the judge. Can you stand up before the judge and say, hey, listen, I'm under grace. So you can't sentence me. You can't sentence me to life in prison because I'm under grace. It didn't make sense. But when you're in a religious organization, the religion keeps you at bay. So we found out a cult is a religious organization or a religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. It's also a relatively small group of people having religious belief or practice regarded by others as strange and sinister. Right? It also say it's a misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. So we see that when you look at this, our cult is a religious organization. So now, if we're trying to find out if Ya'oshar Al is a cult, we now have to go and look up what a religion is. Because you see, when you do the research, ladies and gentlemen, it will bring you to a greater understanding. Will it not? All right, let's look up the word religion. Religion, the belief in and the worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or gods or gods. A particular system of faith and worship, religion. a pursuit or interest to which someone ascribes supreme importance. So, what is a religion? A religion is the belief in and the worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or goddess. So a cult is based upon religion, which is based upon a superhuman power, that use religion or use the belief in a deity as their source of inspiration. It's not the worship of the deity. It's the worship of the man who used the deity as a source of inspiration. It is a superhuman organization. So now you understand what religion is. And if you understand anything about reading this Bible, you would realize that the word religion is never mentioned in the Torah, which is the first 5 books of Masha, aka Moses. It's never mentioned by any prophets, the Toyota, the testimony. No prophet, no Psalms has ever written about religion in the Bible. So the word religion only showed up in the New Testament, and it was 2 times. And no definition of what it is. You see what I'm saying? So when you're looking up, when you're trying to use the Bible as a religious book, you don't understand that the Bible was never meant to be a religious book. The Bible is not a religious book. The very word Bible means a book of books. It's a library. It's a collection of writings of literature written over a period of time. We can't call these translation holy Bibles because there are translation, and a lot got lost in the shuffle. Whether people want to believe it or not, it's been rewritten. I did the history of the King James Version of the Bible, and that's the Bible that I read. I did the history of it, right? So we're going back to the source language. This is why I like the Ravenous Bird, Yaoda Bandor, because he's bringing us to the source language, not to interpret it for us, but to teach us how to read it so we can see it for ourselves. Cutting out the middleman. No interpretation here. Learn it for yourself so you can understand for yourself, because you have to give an account for yourself. Love the Ravenous Bird, man. Yaoda Bandor. All right. So once you understand these things, it's going to bring you to wholeness, ladies and gentlemen. But you must understand the purpose here is to reveal to you who you are. The purpose here is to reveal to you what's going on so you can be better informed to make a decision. Love is a decision, ladies and gentlemen. And until you make that decision, you're lost. You're lost in sin and unrighteousness. So let me say this to you that's going to cook your grits. I tell you, I'm going to cook your grits here. There is no government entity on this planet, no nation on this planet, no religion on this planet that worship the creator of heaven and earth. That, if that doesn't cook your grits, you see, you're married to your superhuman power. This is why you call yourself by the name of your superhuman power. This is why you call yourself a Buddhist, Islams, Christians, for whatever its variation. You take on the name of your religion. What are you? I'm a Baptist Christian. Oh, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist Christian. Oh, I'm a Muslim. I'm a Shiite. I'm a this and that. You're married to it. Your religion owns you. You carry the name of your religion. You are a son, daughter, husband, wife of your religion. Here's the thing that you don't realize either. You are a slave of your religion. You're trapped within the box of the do's and don'ts of your religion. And I'm here to tell you that no religion on planet Earth worship the Creator. Not because you use the name God, meaning that you're worshiping the creator of heaven and earth. Because true worship is obedience. If you obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, it's not just to obey him, it's to keep his covenant. A covenant is a contract. He has a contract, a covenant contract relationship with us. You do this, I do this. That's what it is. He said, I'm going to make a new contract with y'all because for the old contract, they broke it, nullifying the contract. So I'm going to make a new one. But this time I'm going to put my laws in your heart, your mind. I'm not going to write them on some tablets of stone. I'm not going to give them to someone and say, go teach your brother. I'm going to write them in your hearts, in your mind, and I'm going to teach you. And you're going to know me. And I'm going to, forgive your sins. And I'm going to be your God. And you're going to be my children. That's the new covenant he's going to make with the house of Yahushua after those days. He's not making it with the world. The Creator made only two covenants with the entire world. Only two covenants was made with the entire world. And one was the Sabbath commandments, which was given at creation. The only day he blessed, the only day he sets aside, the only day he hallowed, the only day he called my day is his day, the Sabbath of the Lord thy God we read, right? The only day. Blessed, hallowed, and sanctified, set apart for holy purpose, dedicated to him. And later on, he add us to the mix. He said, listen, I'm going to give you my Sabbaths that you may know that I am your creator. I am your God who makes you holy. You find that in Exodus 31, 12 through 16, 12 through 17. The Sabbath becomes a sign. It becomes a covenant by itself. So the Creator only makes two covenants with the world. The Sabbath commandment at creation, it's his signature, his sign, his mark, his seal, that the world may know that he is Creator. This is how we know that he is our Creator. This is how we know that he is our God, our Father who art in heaven. This is how we know. It's a contract between us and him forever throughout all our generations. So when I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute. Then why are we going to church on Sunday? Why we worship on Sunday? And I looked into the New Testament for any commandment giving me authority to worship or change the Sabbath rest from Saturday, the seventh day, to Sunday, the first day. I couldn't find one. So when I go to the church fathers and I ask them, I say, hey, listen, why do we keep Sunday? They give me the same reasons that they gave you. We celebrate Sunday. We keep Sunday as remembrance of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Now watch this. There's no authority from Jesus Christ. Remember, I was a Christian of Christians. There's no authority from Jesus, no authority in the book, old or new, that tells me to keep another day holy. Or I have a holy convocation, which is church, right? No scriptures in the Bible. Then I say, wait a minute. No command from Jesus, no command from his disciples, no command from the prophets, no command from God. Where did this come from? So, you got to go do some research, right? So here's the thing. I start to look, what did Jesus said we must do in remembrance of him? You see, because I was a Christian. So I'm looking in the Bible to see, what did Jesus said? He said, when you eat the bread and drink the fruit of the vine, do this in remembrance of me. Then I start to realize how we keep communion. We have a little piece of bread, a little piece of wine, a little juice wine, and that is not the Passover. It's a mockery of the Passover. How the Passover was to be celebrated is not by a little piece of bread and a piece of little wine. That is not obeying the commandments of the Creator. The Passover is to be celebrated specifically. And the Passover includes a lamb sacrifice because you have to eat it in haste and you have to eat bitter herb. It's a meal. But because the church don't have the time to do the Passover right, they give you this little bread and this little juice and you're drinking and you think that you're doing something. You're not doing it. You're mocking. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that then. It was a mockery of the truth. And it's outright disobedience to the commandment to celebrate the Passover. And here's something I learned. The Passover was not celebrated every Sunday. And it was never celebrated on a Sunday, by the way. And it was not supposed to be celebrated once every month or once every 3 months. The Passover was celebrated once a year. It's a Sabbath. Most people don't even realize that the Passover is a Sabbath. And it was celebrated in a season. It's a seasonal Sabbath. There are 6 seasonal Sabbath and 1 weekly Sabbath. You find that in Deuteronomy 23 and all through the scriptures. He's always talking about the Sabbath because the Sabbath is his sign, his mark, his seal, his token of authority that he is creator. So he doesn't play when it comes to the Sabbath. So all these things. And when I look up the origin of the name of the days of the week, and please go look it up. When you look up the origin of the name of the days of the weeks, you're going to see, ladies and gentlemen, the name of the days of the weeks are all God's. I don't know if that don't cook your grits, then I don't know what's going to cook your grits. It's all God's. Sunday is a God. Monday is a God. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is a God. Friday, Saturday is a God. So when I look at these things, I ask, I say, wait, how they attribute the names of their gods to a certain day of the week. And what I've learned in my research, the reason that they do this, ladies and gentlemen, is because the gods of the first day of the week, Sunday, was worshipped throughout the cultural, geographical sector of the world. That's why the Egyptian worship the sun god. The Grecian worship the sun god. Apollo, Zeus, and Christian worship the Son of God. You see, it's a day to commemorate the Son of God. But you must understand that Jesus is not the son of the creator, this white, blonde hair, blue eye. Jesus is the son of the Greek or pagan god. That's why they all have the same attributes. They all have 12 disciples. They all born on the 25th of December. They all died and came back on the third day. They all part of a triunity of God. That's why Jesus is worshipped as the second member of the so-called Godhead. Now we know there's no prophecy of scripture. The creator himself never identified himself as a triune God. He said, I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. If you need three right there. And it's a bloodline contract that goes through not Ishmael, not Esau, but to Isaac and Jacob, which now comes to us, the 13 tribes of Yahushua. Never once a prophet ever come in the name of a triune God. It's pagan. God, the creator, is not a Trinity God. As a matter of fact, if you read Isaiah 46, verse 8 to 10, he tells you straight up, besides me, there's no other. So what is the testimony of the true God? He says, besides me, there is no other God. There's no one like me. None else. Declaring the end from the beginning. And if you read the writings of the so-called Jesus, what he said, the Father alone is God. Isn't that what he said? So the testimony of the Father is that there's no one like me. I'm the only one of my kind. The testimony of the so-called Jesus is that the Father alone is God. As a matter of fact, Jesus, in the writings, you have to understand that they misconstrued and mess up and translate the true writing of the Messiah. But if you were to really look at the true writing of the Messiah, what does he say? What does he say? The Father alone is God. What else did he say? He says, the Father is my God. And you can find that even in the translation, when they were raised at the tomb, when he came back from the dead. What did he tell Mary? Don't touch me, because I have not ascended to the Father as yet. Watch this. He says, go tell my brethren, I ascended to my God, my Father, and their Father. My God and their God. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the so-called, even in the translation, Jesus called the Father his God. When he was on the cross, so-called cross, because he didn't die on a cross, by the way, he died on a tree. But this false God died on a cross because they want you to start worshiping the God of wood. As you don't understand, that's part of the curse given up to us in Deuteronomy 28, that we'll worship the God of wood and stone. Now, if you notice, the God of stone is the Islamic religion, where they're worshiping the stone at Mecca, and they're worshiping it, and I have to go around this big cube with a stone in it, and they bow down to the stone. That's how people are trapped in Islam, worshiping the God of stone. And our people are trapped in Christianity, worshiping the God of wood. But when he was on that tree, because he hung from a tree, not on a cross. When he was on that tree, what did he say? Eloi, Eloi, sama bakani, something like that. which was interpreting my God. Come on now, ladies and gentlemen. My God, why have thou forsaken me? So if he's a God, then he's worshiping another God. And we know if he's a God worshiping another God, he's blaspheming himself. Or is he making clear to us who the true and living God is? So when you do when you find these information out, it has to change you in here. You can't operate the way you operate. So I sought to know this creator. And once I disregard all these names, Yahuwah, Yahweh Shai, once I disregard Jesus, Jehovah, God, Lord, after I dismiss all these names, I dismiss all religion, I dismiss all government, all nations. They don't worship the creator. I seek and I sought out to worship, to find the true and living God. And that's when he brought me to Genesis 1. And that's when I'm start asking all these questions. And that's when I found that the Sabbath is the true day. It was never ended. It was never nullified, because none of the commandments can be nullified. A matter of fact, the Revelation teaches us you must not add nor take away from the Bible. So if you take away the fourth commandment out of the 10, you no longer have 10 commandments. If the fourth commandment is no longer applicable for Christians or anyone today, you no longer have 10 written with the fingers of the Most High. He spoke 1,880 commands, but he only write 10. And out of his own mouth, from his own testimony, you can find this in Psalms 89:34, from his own mouth, from his own testimony, he will not alter the things that gone out of his lips. He says, my covenant will I not break, nor alter the things that gone out of my lips. He also testified of himself, I change not, I change it not, so you are not destroyed. The Messiah taught us in Matthew 4, he says, listen, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of the Creator. Exodus 20 says, and God, the Creator, Yahweh, spoke these words. So how now some church is going to tell me that the fourth commandment is no longer applicable, it's done away with? So if it's done away with, you're not keeping the 10 commandments. You have nullified the 10 commandments. You have changed the word of God. You have omit the word of God. And if he wrote 10 and give you 10 as a decalogue, and we know that the fourth commandment, the Sabbath commandment, is a covenant by itself. If you are not keeping the Sabbath, you're not worshiping the Creator. And this is why I said to you, ladies and gentlemen, let me say it to you again and again and again. There's no nation on earth, no religion on earth that worship the Creator. No government on earth that worship the Creator. No matter what form of garb they dress themselves in, they are all pagans. You see, the kingdom of heaven is not a religion. The kingdom of heaven is not a religion. And that is what the Creator is establishing with and through his people. But he have placed them in enslavement, scattered all over the Aegean, in his anger and fury poured out. He's the one who scattered us, ladies and gentlemen. And now he's gathering us back into a nation right here in the Philippines. It start. Next year is the Jubilee year. He's starting something fresh, starting something new. The nation that worship him. Hear, O Yahweh, the Lord thy God, Adonai Elohim, is one God. You see what I've done with the Egyptians and how I brought you out on eagle's wing and brought you unto myself. I'm telling you now, if you keep my commandment, if you obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, although the whole earth is mine. You shall be unto me a kingdom. A what kingdom? A what kingdom? Kingdom of priests, a holy nation, a royal priesthood. That was the contract. That was the wait, what's the word I'm looking for here? That was the contract. That was I can't find the word I'm looking for, man. That was the can't find the word. It's gonna come to me now. It's coming to me. bear with me. That was what the Creator put before us. The condition. That's the word I'm looking for. That was the condition. The condition is if you obey my voice. Come on now. What I said, thus say Yahweh. That's why all prophets always speak on his behalf. Not they speak what he said, not on their behalf or not what they believe or think. They come to you with what is said. This is what the Creator said. Thus saith Yahweh. See? So know this. He's raising up his children. And he called us to come out. He said, come out of her, my people. You must gather in the wilderness again. You people don't realize that. They want to go to the promised land. You got to go to the wilderness because he got to plead to you face to face. He wants to set his temple in the midst of us. That's what he wants to do. And the heathens will know that he is the Creator. So we are Yahushua, and we're gathered here in the Philippines under the guidance of a ravenous bird sent to us by the Creator to restore his words to us again. And so many of my friends and many of my white friends and black friends and family members, they want to know, man, they're concerned, we're concerned you were such a Christian. We love you, man. And you're giving up all of this. You give up your business, you sell your house, you say goodbye to your family and friend, get rid of everything you had. And you've gone down to this place in the Philippines. You don't even know these people. Who are they? What they're about? I'm a concern for you, man. You're a part of a cult. Because they see cultic behavior in the past. They see cultic behavior, and it always seems like with a cultic, in these cults, they always seems to isolate people from their families. They always seems to take people out into some strange area and start their regime of their worship. But I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand what a cult is. It has the look of a sheep. Innocent. We're only doing this for the worship of God. But if you look at these cults, man, and these cult leaders, most of these cult leaders are white. I must say it. I have to say it. If you look at the majority of cult leaders today, they're white people. Are of a white complexion. Now, listen, I'm just stating the facts. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you in a minute. Some of you won't be able to see it. Those on TikTok and those on Instagram, you may not be able to see it, but you can hear it. So listen up. Take good notes so you can go watch it for yourself. So I'm going to go turn your attention now to what a cult is really like. And of course, I've showed you already. I've showed you already that a cult is I showed you the definition of what a cult is. Right? And let me go over it one more time. Wait. Yeah, here we go. Before I show you this. So a cult. What is a cult? A cult is a system of religious venerations and devotions directed towards a peculiar figure or object, right? A relatively small group of people having religious belief or practice regarded by others as strange or sinister. All right. So we establish that a cult is a religious system with an admiration for someone or some object. We also recognize that it's a belief, it's a religious system. So what is religion? A belief in and the worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or goddess or gods. A particular system of faith and worship, a pursuit or interest to which someone ascribed supreme importance. So we see that this cultic behavior, cultic mindset is based in religion. Now, Yahushua is not a religion. Yahushua is not the admiration of a superhuman organization. It's not the worship of no gods. So what is Yahushua? Ya'osher-al is a nation, a covenant nation with the Creator. That's who we are. Right now, we're not a nation because we're scattered amongst the Aegeans. We're individual bloodline that can trace their lineage not only through the Atlantic slave trade, but can trace their lineage right back to the covenant promise bloodline of Abraham. This is very important for you to understand. So now you hear it, now you know. What is Ya'osher-al? A descendant of Abraham through a covenant relationship, a descendant of Abraham to a covenant relationship through Isaac, Jacob, of the promised seed of the Creator. That's who we are. A peculiar people, a holy nation, a royal priesthood is who we are. But because of our disobedience, we're sold into slavery and have been in slavery over 400 years. But he has kept his word. He sent the ravenous bird, ladies and gentlemen, the man who will execute his counsel to give us the understanding of who we are. That's how I know about Deuteronomy 28 really matching up the Atlantic slave trade. That's how I know. And I watched that in Brought by Ships. So go to the Ravenous Bird, RAVENOUSBIRD, Ravenous Bird, on Facebook, on YouTube, and look up the true name of the Creator. That's 3 series in there. Watch all 3 of them. Then look up on YouTube, the Ravenous Bird, RAVENOUS. The true name of the Creator, number 1. Brought by Ships. Watch all 4 episodes of that. Then Keep Silent Before Me Islands. Watch all 3 episodes. I think 3 or 4 episodes in that. Watch them all. And then Leave on Ships. There's a lot more you can watch, but I just want to give you these 4. There's 4 different episodes, series that you can watch them so you can get a better understanding. So you're having the information, the comprehension of the information, the wisdom to carry it out. And so those who accept the message, come on now, those who accept the message understand the message of the kingdom. You see, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in the field. When a man find it, he hid it again. Then he goes away and he sold everything he has. He come back and he purchased this field. That's what we all did. We heard it. We understand it. We recognize our careers were not more important than this. We recognize that our families were not more important than this. We recognize that our jobs were not more important. Our businesses were not more important than this. We recognize that our house, our cars, our possession is not more important than this. Guess what? Our husbands, our wives, our children are not more important than this. So we make the decision. About 160 of us now make the decision to give up everything we have and purchase this field. I did a message called The Righteous Stranger. Check that out. I did that on my YouTube, on this platform, but you can also go to Now Living in the Philippines. Now Living in the Philippines. You can also go to Now Living in the Philippines on YouTube. It's my personal channel, where you will see how we are behaving down here. And you can judge for yourself if we're a cult, you know. So my goal is to take this channel, Now Living in the Philippines, and show you, acclimate you to the things we've done. You will see my life from the minute I left the airport, go to the airport. You see how you'll see me on the way to the airport, get into the airport in the plane to get to Dubai, from Dubai to here. You'll see it all. I'll tell you what life was like for me when I first got here. You know, all of these things. I'm telling you the weather. I'm just showing you the Philippines, the paradise that we're in, and we're here for one purpose and one purpose only: is in obedience to the commandments of the Creator, who has been gathering us to start the nation back again. You're going to see, because he made some promise here, guys. He made some promise here. If you read Ezekiel 37, I believe it is. Ezekiel 37, yes, Ezekiel 37. And let's look at 26. Ezekiel 37, 26 to 28. Watch this. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forever. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yes, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh. Do sanctify Yahushua, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forever. Ezekiel 20, real quick here. Ezekiel 20. You don't understand. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Ezekiel 20, and we look at verse 24, I believe it is. 34. Ezekiel 20, 34 through 37. Watch this. And I will bring you out. Watch this now. I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with few poured out. That's how he scatter us. Watch this. And I will bring you into what? The wilderness, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people believe the word wilderness, are the original Gabari source language, word is Madbar. It actually means a solitary place. So we're not going to just be here we didn't come to the Philippines to get acclimated here. We come to the Philippines to be separated, and to get out of the land of our enslavement, and to be able to be in a place where we can be on a piece of land where we can actually start practicing and becoming the nation that Yahweh brought once for us. So watch what he says here. He says, verse 35, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. These are prophecies, ladies and gentlemen. Like I plead with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, say Yahweh. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. Where is he going to do that? In the wilderness. You got to come out of her. Let me read one more. Can I read one more here? I read it already. Exodus. Yeah, I read that one already. Let's read Jeremiah 31. Let's just read Jeremiah 31. Jeremiah 31, and we read verse 2, verse 1 and 2, 1, 2, and 3, 1 to 3. Jeremiah 31, 1 to 3. What you must understand, ladies and gentlemen, Yahweh is serious. He has never gone back in his word. He's going to destroy the nations we serve as slave. This is what he said. And I'm telling you, we've served America. We've served Europe, France, Germany, Switzerland, Portuguese. We've served them all. Their nations is still standing. That means, ladies and gentlemen, he has not fulfilled those words yet. Because you see, at that time has to fulfill his words. Time wait on his words. He's going to destroy these nations from within. It's imploding from within. Watch this now. Watch this. At that verse 31, at the same time, saith Yahweh, will I be the Elohim, the God of all the families of Yahushua, and they shall be my people. Of who? Yahushua. Not the world, Yahushua. And of course, the righteous strangers who are among us. Thus saith Yahweh, the people which are left of the sword found grace, here's our word grace, in the wilderness. Where's your grace going to be found, my friends? In the wilderness. Even Yahushua, when I went to cause him to rest. So who's going to give you the rest? You think the Emancipation Act of 1863 ratified in more in 1865, freed us. Come on, man. Look up the word emancipation. Ain't nobody can free you. Who sent you into slavery with an outstretched arm, mighty hand, and few prerogative? It was the Creator. Only the Creator can free you. And most people think freedom is because you're not under chattel slavement. You think you're free. You're not free. You see, when he brought us out of the land of Egypt, he said, out of the house of bondage. Do you understand what bondage is? It also means stronghold. Who has cut you off from being a nation? Who is seeing to it that you don't become a nation? Who is seeing to it that you just get a little piece of bread here and there? Who is giving you the bread? Who is giving you the light? No matter if you even open up your own stores and your own banks. Man, come on, Tulsa, come on. Wall Street, the Black Wall Street, come on. We have our own banks, own theater, own hospitals, own everything. We were thriving. What happened? Their jealousy. They come burn it down. But most important, what I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, those who can trace their lineage to Atlantic slave trade, no matter what you own, no matter how much you own it, no matter how well you're doing in the bank and your careers are going well, you depend on your slave masters. They own your bread. They own your light. They own your water. They own the fields. They own the house. Even when you finish pay off the house, they robbed you for over 30 years and charge you interest. And you pay 5, 6, 10 times the amount the house is worth over the lifetime of your loan. You still don't own the house because you have to pay taxes. So if you have to pay taxes, how can you pay taxes on something you own? Everything you buy, they tax you on your job. They tax you on your earnings. They tax you on your winnings. And after they tax the money that is already taxed, when you go and buy something, they tax you again. I want you to understand, no matter what you think you're going to do, no matter what you think you're doing, you're still under bondage until you are a nation that have your own light, your own water, your own everything, totally off the grid, off the system of this superhuman power of this world. You're nothing but a slave. You are a slave. Let's read it again. Jeremiah 31:1. At that same time say Yahweh, will I be the God of the Alaim of all the families of Yahushael, and they shall be my people. Thus saith Yahweh, to the people which were left by the sword, found grace in the wilderness, even Yahushael, when I cause him to rest. Yahweh has appeared of old unto me, saying, yes, I have loved you, Yahushael, with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness have I drawn thee. From loving kindness. And he's going to set a covenant in us, man. Let me tell you something, man. I can read this over and over again to you till you're blue in the face. But if he doesn't open your mind to see it, you will never see it. That's why my goal here is not to convert you. My goal here is not to even try to influence you in any way, shape, or form. My goal is to give you the information. Truth Matters Broadcasting is where we discern for ourselves. I'm not trying to tell you to believe me. You don't have to believe me. I don't care if you believe me, honestly. I don't care. And I don't say that in a malicious way. I'm saying I'm obligated. I'm obligated to Yahweh to spread the information. If Yahweh doesn't draw you, you can't accept this anyway. So I'm here to preach the message to you as a witness against you. Against you. Can't say you never heard it. If Yahweh stirs up your heart and you decide to go into drive, you take your car out of neutral and you're going to drive, then he will lead you. Just let him have the wheel. But if you think your life is more important than the kingdom, then keep everything you have. All right. Let me just wrap this up here. I'm going to show you now a video from WatchMojo.com. 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 You can subscribe them on YouTube. They have videos, just giving you videos on the 10 most disturbing cult that are still active today. Because one of the question is Ya'Osha a cult or what? Are we a cult? Are we come down here to become a cult? No. Our teacher, the one who's executing the council of Ya'o, Mabane Yaoda Bandur, the ravenous bird, is not teaching us to admire him or to follow him. He's teaching us to follow Ya'o. And he's teaching us the ancient words, the Gabare, so that we can learn and decide for ourselves. That's one thing I love about this dude, man. He was chosen from Ya'o, from among our people, for the first time in a long time. I'm not listening to white people. I'm not listening to Jews telling me about my history, telling me about my culture, telling me about my God. First time in a long time, I'm listening to a brother, look like me, strong like me, handsome like me, telling us to look to the Creator. His true name is Ya'o. I've been calling upon that name and things are happening, man. So let's look at what a cult is truly like. The 10 most disturbing cults that are still active today. And this is coming from Mojo, WatchMojo.com. WatchMojo.com. All right, let me see if I can get this up here. Let's make sure it works. Every time I try this, it doesn't work. So I think I figured out what I was doing wrong. Here we go. Listen up.
What he wanted them to be.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at 10 disturbing cults you never want to meet. For this list, we're looking at bizarre cults that are somehow currently active. There are inactive cults that are far more sinister, such as Jonestown, but we'll save those for a different list.
You would be sworn in as a member, and you would also swear not to reveal any of the going-ons inside this group.
Which of these do you find the strangest? Let us know in the comments below. The Rajneesh movement. Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, a controversial philosophy scholar and professor, founded his movement in the late 1960s, early 70s. He dismissed established religions and instead focused on free thought, meditation, and sexual freedom.
Now there are two ways. Either repress sex as it has been done by all the so-called religious traditions of the world, or transform it. I am for transformation.
He also had a marked interest in communist literature, which influenced his teachings. He moved his facility to Oregon in the early 1980s after attracting too much controversy in India, yet found the same hostilities in the States. In order to gain political influence, the movement committed crimes such as mass local salmonella poisoning and an attempted assassination of a U.S. attorney. He was then deported, and the movement's commune was re-established in India in 1985. Rajneesh died in 1990, but the movement, now called Osho, is still very much active.
What's going to happen to your holy man?
Bhagwan had always told me that when things get too difficult for him, he will sit in his chair, take an injection, and disappear.
The Order of the Solar Temple.
The order attracted many successful upper-middle-class people, disillusioned with conventional churches, yet hungry for spiritual experiences.
The Order of the Solar Temple, or International Order of Chivalry Solar Tradition, was founded in Geneva in 1984. The order took its influence from the Knights Templar, which had been reformed into several factions in 1805. In its heyday, the order had a presiding council, as well as multiple lodges around the world, in which they would perform initiation rites and ceremonies.
Only the elite, who had passed all the initiations from novice to knight, were treated to the secrets of the inner sanctum. Here, they were privy to startling revelations.
The order believed that an apocalyptic event would occur sometime in the mid-90s, and that in order to survive, they had to achieve a higher plane of existence.
This AI technology turns text into animated videos using real humans who you type. Human power.
In the mid-90s, over 70 of its members were murdered or took their own lives.
Investigators say the cult was obsessed with death and considered it an illusion. Experts say cult leaders told their followers that fire would lead them to a new world on another planet.
With more to follow. Despite this, the group is still thought to have between 140 and 500 active members. Raelism.
The Raelians, now 30,000 strong worldwide, believe that space beings created humans through genetic experimentation.
Though its classification as a cult is sometimes debated, Raelism was, or is still, at some point in the cult category. It's essentially what's called a UFO religion, and was founded in France by Claude Vorilhon in 1974.
It's not only the scientific aspect of creating life, but also the political, religious belief, sociology, everything is. We are entering a new world which is completely different. But there is no reason to...
A better world?
A much better world.
They believe that an alien race known as Elohim created humans. The Elohim have been mistaken for gods historically, and any prophetic figure such as Jesus or Muhammad was created by them. Vorilhon, known as Rael, is the 40th and final prophet. Followers believe that the world is in an age of apocalypse, and that new technologies must be developed, after which time the Elohim will return to Earth and share their extraterrestrial knowledge with us. Current Raelian members were counted at around 18,000 in 2017.
The Rael movement has two goals. One is to spread the message, and two, to build the embassy.
Aleph.
Inside, sect members were undergoing survival training. Chemicals and drugs were used to raise, then remove states of anxiety.
Aum Shinrikyo, or more recently Aleph, was founded in Japan in 1987 by Chizuo Matsumoto, later known as Shoko Asahara. It's a doomsday cult, and its beliefs combine aspects of Indian and Tibetan Buddhism, Hinduism, Christian millenarianism, yogic practices, and the prophecies of Nostradamus.
The religion is a blend of yoga and mysticism, with bits of Buddhist, Hindu, and Christian teachings thrown in. His catchiest sales point, though, was a claim to levitation.
It started off fairly tame, but eventually the cult became criminal, with accusations of extortion, murder, and forced membership, among other things. They performed a number of attacks. At some point, the group began to manufacture sarin gas and were responsible for the attack on the Tokyo subway in 1995, which left upwards of 1,000 injured. A number of the more prominent members were executed in 2018, but there were still indications of active membership as of 2019.
About 20 members live here, an austere lifestyle driven by the desire to spread the Master's teachings.
Hello, everyone. This is Shoko Asahara.
12 tribes.
If you're not in, you're out. If you're not with me, you're against me. If you want to have a strong identity, create a strong enemy, and then you really know who you are.
Founded in Tennessee during the evangelical Jesus movement of the 1970s, the 12 tribes might seem like a simple, wholesome community on the surface. It aspires to recreate the original Christian church, as depicted in the Book of Acts. However, it allegedly exerts authoritarian control over its followers' lives and promotes strict corporal punishment, reportedly by parents and non-parents alike, which has led to accusations of child abuse.
Tessa remembers being sent out to work on her own when she was just 5 years old.
Sometimes working in kitchens, like preparing food for the whole rest of the community, or in like candle factories. So I remember being like 4 or 5 years old working with this boiling wax.
Once followers reach a certain level, they're allegedly instructed that Jews are cursed for murdering Jesus, that gay people should be put to death, and that black people are naturally servants to whites. The group has often flown under the radar, but there's a lot more going on beneath the smiling and folk dancing.
They control your logic and your thinking, and they control your money.
Happy Science.
So Happy Science has so many teachings that you can learn about them. So that is a lot of wisdom you got learn.
Founded in 1986 by former businessman Ryuho Okawa, Happy Science focuses on a fourfold path to happiness. Members of the group attend seminars and training in order to climb the group ladder. They worship El Cantare, a being that is said to have been born over 300 million years ago on Earth and reincarnated through time until its current incarnation, which is, of course, Okawa himself.
Ryuo Okawa. This guy's the supreme god of Earth, more powerful than Jesus, Allah, and Moses combined.
さらに私は、ブッダも魂の兄弟の一人で、ブッダも地上に送り込んだ。2500年前に送った。
The problem with this one comes in the form of major uncredited claims. For example, that the organization can cure the pandemic with, quote, spiritual vaccines. Okawa's own son has left the group and subsequently denounced his father's actions. Happy Science claims to have 11 million followers. However, a former member has said it's more like 30,000.
There are membership fees, there are donations for prayers, for blessings. Members may kind of rise in status based on donation to Okawa and his larger project.
The Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Every aspect of this family's life, who they marry, what they wear, even what they eat, is controlled by the man they call their prophet, Warren Jeffs.
The LDS Church spawned some fundamentalist sects when the core religion opted to renounce the practice of polygamy. Those who wished to continue the practice branched off, remaining Mormon but on their own terms. Polygamy remains illegal, however, and in 1953, an entire FLDS community was arrested in Short Creek, Arizona, modern-day Colorado City, and most had their children taken away from them.
We were taught from birth that in order to get what they called the highest degree of the celestial kingdom, you had to have at least 3 wives while you lived on earth. And if you did not, you could not reach that highest degree.
A compound in Texas was raided in 2008 after Child Protective Services was made aware of allegations of abuse. Over 400 children were taken from the compound and placed in CPS custody.
We felt like children out there on the property were in danger, and that's when it became a very large operation.
Leader of FLDS, Warren Jeffs, remains in his position, despite being in prison for life after acts against minors. The sect currently has between 6,000 and 10,000 followers. Superior Universal Alignment, the second UFO cult on this list. Superior Universal Alignment, or Lineamiento Universal Superior, was founded by Valentina Giandraggi in 1981. She claimed to have received messages from extraterrestrials warning her of destruction. If, however, she shared their warnings with others, she and her followers would be saved. Similar to the Raelians, Suwa believes that Jesus was actually an extraterrestrial messenger. They also believe that males born after 1981 are evil, and that their lives should end as payment to the superior beings. Between 1981 and 1993, 19 Brazilian boys disappeared, and left to die in the woods. The guilty cult members were sentenced, but Giandraggi was acquitted. The cult is still active and has been running a website since 2009. The Family International.
Berg preached to the hippie generation about Jesus and recruited them to join him in his all-consuming drive to save souls.
The Children of God, more recently the Family International, was founded in 1968 by David Berg and was immediately subject to controversy as it used sex to lure potential members, which was Berg's own invention, which he called flirty fishing. They established colonies worldwide, as many as 130 in 70 countries. The Family International draw their beliefs from the Bible, yet with a heavy emphasis on loving Jesus, which is done through sexual interaction. Over time, there have been a large number of child mistreatment allegations raised against them.
Reportedly, keeping children is a cult policy. While longing for her 4 lost children, Vivian lived here in this small apartment in Sioux Falls, disoriented, unable to hold a job, and subsisting on welfare.
Celebrities such as River and Joaquin Phoenix, as well as Rose McGowan, were partially raised in this group before finding their way out. TFI is still active, albeit as an online community, boasting 1,450 members.
We were trafficked, we were moved constantly, we were never taught anybody's names. So it's very difficult to learn your abusers' names. And
You think that was by design?
Oh, absolutely.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. NXIVM.
To understand NXIVM, NXIVM is the umbrella company.
In 1998 by Keith Raniere and Nancy Salzman, NXIVM started out as a self-help group which offered classes called Executive Success Programs. In 2017, former members urged authorities to investigate, initially for a subgroup within NXIVM called The Vow. It was a group of women branded with Raniere's initials and on a rotation to have relations with the founder and recruit members.
Do you think the person who's being branded should be completely nude and sort of held to the table like a, sort of almost like a sacrifice? I don't know, that's a feeling of submission.
In a sort of exceedingly complex relationship scheme. On top of this, in 2018, charges were brought against Raniere and 5 female members for a number of crimes including extortion, sex trafficking, and the list goes on. Raniere got 120 years in prison. As of 2020, a number of groups branched from NXIVM are said to be active and recruiting.
We didn't even know that we were being experimented on. We thought we were just kind of learning and growing, but really they were observing and watching how we responded to the lack of sleep, how we responded to lack of food, how all of these things affected our psyche, and we were very weak. We were weak mentally and we were weak physically.
Check out these other clips from Mojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
Bring myself back. All right. So what do you learn from just listening to this? Whether they are Indians, Japanese, Chinese, black, well, no black, white, whatever they are, all of these cults are classification as cult are all religious. They're all religious based. And as we looked and we understand what a cult is, it's based upon, and let me just not use my own words here. Let me just go in my phone again here. Hold on. Let me open this up. What is a cult? Where are we? What is a cult? A system of religious veneration, and devotion directly towards a peculiar figure or object. A relatively small group of people having religious belief or practice regarded by others as strange or sinister, a misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. That is a cult. A cult is a religious organization that admire a person or object as their superhuman organization system. It's derived from the admiration of this person. Now, we admire the ravenous bird. I admire him. I love the dude. I love the dude. He's my brother. I love him. Love the dude. And if you listen to the Righteous Stranger, we just did a Righteous Stranger on YouTube. I did a message on Righteous Stranger here, but I also did one on my channel, Now Living in the Philippines. Go check that out. We hear a white person is talking about her understanding of Yahushua, Yahweh, the nation, and living amongst us. Go understand. Now we don't. If you notice something too, for those who could have seen this, they all isolate these people, and they're all in their own little camp, and they have their own laws, doing their own thing, and they mimicking the nation of Yahushua. They're trying to mimic it by separating themselves from the world and having their own laws and so on and so forth. But it's not geared to the Creator. It's geared to the person who started. He is the creator. He is the one, even though he used the religious deity to fuel his passion to control people even more. There's always some sort of fee or sexual cult or always some sort of devotion or how you can dress or all these kind of things. So they take bits and pieces of Torah and they mix it with their garbage so that people can follow them. Now, let me just play a little bit here from The Ravenous Bird, because you know what? If we're going to play one, why not play the other? All right, let me see if I can hook something up here. Hold on. Let me go back here, because now I have to... How you do this again? Share your screen. All right, let's see. So let's... Boom. Let's wait. Let's go back here. I'm a novice at this, I'm learning. Okay, now let me get rid of this first, because I think I understand what I'm doing wrong. Hold up, I gotta stop sharing my screen, and then I have to go back to sharing my screen, and then it's gonna ask me which of the things that I opened that I want to share. Voila, there it is. And then I'm going to open up, go back to this. All right, there we go. And then I'm going to go here, play this. All right, check out the rabbit. Oh. Okay,
Sham Kadasho.
Now you're going to hear a little bit of
Pashe at Ya'o, Wachal Karabe at Sham Kadasho. Shalom Chal Beth Ya'o Shar Bamad Bar HaChamem, Bamad Bar Hayan Nap Ha'aratz. La Asapem Bamakom Shar Yabachar Ya'o, La Shachan Shamo Sham. Za Rabba Ya'o Ishkatsatho. Reit Mamazrach Ma'aratz Marachak. Ha Chana Chorash Ma'at Ya'o, Gam up in the Yedaite Atho Za Ane. Hayom Hazah. Anachno nalama dabarem hanabe yara'o. One of the main reasons Ya'o, Allah aim, is gathering a remnant here in this wilderness is because he is summoning a king to form an army to fight against Babylon remotely, in order that by physically destroying it, vengeance may be taken for the many offenses of people, and for reparations to be seized by our people. Babylon is abundant in treasures and wealth, yet her great wealth will not secure her. All of that wealth is being heaped up in order that it may be taken away by us when the time is right. Habaro hachatzem, mala o hashalatem, ha'er ya'o afroch malach madeh, che ral babal mazmatho, la hashchetha, che nakamat ya'o he'ah, nakamat he'chalo. Make pure the arrows. Fill up the shields. Ya'o has roused up the roch of the king of my measure. For upon Babal is his design, to obliterate it. For the vengeance of Ya'o it is, the vengeance of his tabernacle. That's the quote from Yoram Ya'o chapter 51 and verse 11. The heathens who have made themselves the authorities of the Bible's meaning, in your absence, they want you to believe this verse is talking about Cyrus the Great, and that the phrase Malach Madeh in this verse means king of the Medes. Cyrus the Great was king of Persia, not king of the Medes, and our people knew the difference between the Medes and the Persians. Furthermore, Cyrus did not obliterate Babylon. What Cyrus did is spend huge sums of money to sustain Babylon and to beautify its pagan temple of Marduk-bag, the god Marduk, who Cyrus called his lord. So it would appear that we have a real problem. If you believe the heathens that Cyrus is being prophesied about in this verse, then Yoram Ya'o is a false prophet. If Cyrus is not the king who is being prophesied about in this verse, then who is this king? Ba Shapath No, in our language, the word Madeh means my measure. It is the masculine noun, Mad, which means measure, with a possessive pronominal suffix in the first person common singular. If I ask you how many teaspoons of sugar you like in your tea, and you say just one, that is your measure. If you ask the prophets of Yahweh, how many from the chosen race of people, whose numbers are as the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted, how many of them does Yahweh intend to redeem? And they answer, a remnant, which is only a few, that is his measure. The phrase malach madeh, not malache madeh, malach madeh, in this verse and in verse 28 of the same chapter, does not mean king of the Medes, and it never did. It means king of my measure, that is to say, king of my remnant. The ancient Medes of old did not obliterate Babylon, but the king of my measure will destroy the daughter of Babylon. If someone objects to what I just said, and they claim that this verse is talking about a war that will be waged in the near future by a leader of modern-day Iran against the United States of America, ask them what chance does a country with 0 nuclear weapons have against one with more than 5,000 it has openly disclosed to the public, and probably twice as many as that it has not disclosed. Make it make sense. Verse 20 of Yoram Ya'o chapter 51 states that Ya'o Shar'al is the battle axe of Ya'o that will bring down kingdoms. That means the king of my measure in verses 11 and 28 has to be a man of Ya'o Shar'al descent. He cannot be a heathen king. But a king is not a real king unless he has an army, right? So how does the king of my measure build an army? And what are his weapons? His weapons cannot be man-made, for that will not be enough to take down the most noble military the human race has ever seen. His warriors have to be taught by him what it takes to receive the Roch of Yahweh and to prophesy.
So-called Holy Spirit.
They must be filled with the Roch and be changed into another man, so that when they are prophesying, by playing upon their instruments and by praising the name Yahweh, the king is waving his hand over the nations that afflicted them, and the wonders of nature that always obey the voice of the one who created them come crashing down upon those nations. These are his weapons. With drums, with guitars, with wind instruments, and battles of waving the hand. That is how the prophets say that the king of might will destroy Babylon. That is how he fulfills Yoram Ya'o 51 and 11. That is also your payday and the big payback.
Let's cut this off. So we gathered here, a remnant for the Creator to do and fulfill his words. We're building an army, yes. But what type of army? Not an army that fights with guns and we are going and blowing up nobody. No, but an army, a nation that praise the name of Yahweh with our instruments, with our voices. That's how we gonna do it. You remember when Joshua, Yahushai, was commanded to march around the city of Jericho? 6 days. Once march around the city, 1 day for 6 days. So every day for 6 days, march around the city once. But at the end of it, what he was to shout, to make a shout. Yahweh is the one who fights against these nations. Yahweh is the one who's going to destroy these nations, not us. We're taking out of us. Remember now, I read Jeremiah for you. I read Jeremiah, that's Yaram Ya'o. I read Jeremiah for you, where he says, Jeremiah 31, where he says here, at that same time, Yahweh will be the God of the families of Yahusharel, and they shall be his people. And thus shall Yahweh, and thus saith Yahweh, the people which are left of the sword the people who are left over after the sword, the people who found grace in the wilderness. When I caused him to rest, Yahweh has appeared of old unto me, saying, yes, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness, I have drawn thee. Now, if you go to verse 30, before he writes his new covenant in our hearts, listen to what he says here. Jeremiah 31, 30. Yaram Ya'o 30, 31, 31, 30. But everyone shall die for his own iniquities. Every man that eateth sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge. You see, ladies and gentlemen, everyone shall die. In those days shall they say no more, the father of eating sour grape and the children's teeth are set on edge. But every man that dies will die for his own iniquities. Those who are left by the sword, Yahweh is going to fulfill his words against his enemies. Against his enemies, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to do it because his mouth has spoken it. And whatever his mouth has spoken, he's going to fulfill. Don't think you're safe behind your big walls. Don't think you're safe because you're a superpower. Don't think you're safe because you have millions of soldiers. You see in the Bible, when the four kings came up against Yahushua, what did Yahweh prophesy? Just sing. Just go singing. They march out to the battlefield singing. When they got to the battlefield, what happened? The nation turned against itself and destroyed itself. And the plunder from these cities, from these nations, took 3 days to collect. When they got out to the field, everyone was dead. We ain't doing no fighting. Don't think we're some sort of cult. We're coming over here to build an army so we can take vengeance for what you have done to us through the Atlantic slave trade. Understand the prophecies. Understand the word of Yahweh. Vengeance is mine, saith Yahweh, and I will repay. Vengeance is mine, saith Yahweh, and I will repay. Vengeance is mine, saith Yahweh, and I will repay. So I don't have to worry about what's going to happen. I just know where I need to be. And I need to be where he tells me to be. And he tells me and commands me to be to get out of the cities. Get out of the countries from which I was enslaved. And all of you who are Yahushua, who can trace your lineage to the Atlantic slave trade, it is time for you to leave. I know most of you are leaving. You're sensing it. Something's about to happen. They telling you a next pandemic is coming, but what they're not telling you is that come next year, it's the Jubilee year. They're not telling you that. And every Jubilee, something devastating happened. I'm going to have the Ravenous Bird on here. We're going to talk about that. Trust me. He's coming, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to fulfill his words. The Messiah has to come back and reign on Doeg's throne in the midst of us forever. Have to happen. Psalms 83. Psalms 83. Psalms 83 verse 1 says, keep not thou silent, Yahweh. Hold not thy peace and be not silent, O Yahweh. For lo, your enemies make a noise, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to realize the Creator has enemies. If you're not with me, you're against me, say the Creator. These are the words uttered by the Messiah. If you're not with this, you're against this. You must understand this. They have lifted up the head. They're taking up arms against Yahweh. But watch this. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have taken up crafty counsel against us, cutting us off. Watch this. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yaoshural may be no more in remembrance. They have consulted against us. This is how they have consulted against the Creator. We bear the Creator's name. And because we bear the Creator's name and we are his people, they enslave us. And the first thing they do is they took our names and gave us their names. They took the name of our Creator and then they gave us the Creator. They gave us their God's name. But the Creator has restored his name to us, you see. We have the power because he restored our identity back to us. He has restored it. Watch this. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yaoshural will be no more in remembrance. I'm here to tell you the name Israel is in remembrance. The so-called nation of Israel is in remembrance. They're still in war over there right now. Can't settle. No peace. No peace. Right? But this is not the name. Because if this was the name of Israel is in remembrance. That means this prophecy would be null and void. But watch this. Verse 5. Psalms 83 verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They have confederate. Come on now. Against thee. The Confederation in America. What was their aim? What was their goal? To stop us from being free. And they come up with this east-west kind of thing and make you think, okay, Abraham is for the slave and the Confederate army is not for the slaves. And okay, they planned this so well. Okay, we're going to free the slaves and give the slaves freedom. You are not free. Because after the Emancipation Act in 1865, what happened to the slaves? What are the laws that was created? How many of us got hanged when we were so-called free? Watch this now. But if you notice, the real crime here is they cut us off from being a nation. The Nation of Islam under Louis Farrakhan is trying to bring black people to fend for themselves, to do for themselves, to have their own everything. But what he's not telling you is that you cannot be a nation within a nation unless you're a nation that controls everything, like the Vatican. The only reason the Vatican can be a nation in a nation is because the Vatican is the superpower that controls the world. People don't realize this is the truth. It's prophesied in Daniel 2. But you must understand, you cannot be a nation within a nation. You cannot be a nation that is looking to the nation that you're in for your food, even though you might build your own schools. Dr. Umar Johnson, I think he changed his last name now. Love the guy. Passionate for Pan-African. He's an African. He's a black man to the core. And I love the guy because I love his passion for his people. But I'm here to tell you, Dr. Umar Johnson, I love you, man. I really do. I really admire your passion. And I admire your fight and your struggles for black people everywhere. But I'm here to tell you, unless you understand who you are, that you're more than just black people. You're more than just a struggle. You are of the nation of Yaoshural. You are called by Yahweh not to build a nation within a nation, to build schools within the nation, but to come out of her. Yahweh is going to destroy all your work, my friend. As many as join the Nation of Islam, going out selling cakes, doing all these different things, all the money gathered still can't be the people that they're called to be. Because Yahweh's hands is against you. Dr. Umar, Yahweh's hand is against you. Yes, you will accomplish certain things. Yes, you will bring awareness to certain things. But Yahweh's hand is against you. Because this is not his command. He's not gathering people in Egypt. He's not gathering his people in Egypt, ladies and gentlemen. When he called our forefathers, he didn't tell them to stay at home. I'm going to build a nation in you because you stayed home. He said, leave the land of your fathers. Leave your father's house and come to a land where I'm going to show you, where I'll make a nation out of you. It's the same thing that's happening to us today. He's not going to bless you in Egypt. And America is Egypt. Europe is Egypt. All of the nations that we serve as slaves is Egypt. They're under one banner. They serve one God, different names, but the same God. And their goal is to cut you and I off from knowing who we are, cut you and I off from being a nation. Watch this. Verse 5. For they have consulted together, Psalms 83, verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacle, the house of Edom, and Ishmaelites, and Moab, and the Hagarenes, and Gabel, and Mammon, and Ammons, and Amalek, the Philistine, with the inhabitants of Troy. Assur has joined in with them. They help the children of Lot. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, and the Sisera, and the Jabins, and the brooks of Kishon, which perish at Endor, and become as dung of the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and Zebat, and Zamullah, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of Yahweh in possession. Oh, my God. Oh, Alaim, Yahweh, make them like the wheels, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire beneath the wood, and the flame settled the mountain on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their face with shame, and they seek that. All of this. Fill their face with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Yahweh, and let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yes, let them be put to shame and perish, that man may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You do with that what you will. I gave you the information. You do with it what you will. At the end of this, I'm asking you to judge for yourself. Are we a cult? Are we a cult because we moved down here? We found out who we are. We recognize the writings and the calling and the words of Yahweh to leave and to be here as a remnant to fulfill his word in us, to bring us back to a nation, to multiply us like the sands of the sea, and to you, and so that his name will be great once again in this earth. Are we a cult? Are we a cult? The choice is yours. You decide. You decide. I showed you examples what cults are. I played it for you, the behavior of a cult. Now you have to decide, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Matters Broadcasting is where you discern for yourself. A cult would say, this is what you need to do. Do it now. A cult would say, give me your money. A cult would say, only I have the answers. I'm telling you, that's not our ravenous bird. That is not our aim here. I am in control of my own money. I lived in my own house here. I drive my own car and ride my own bike. No one is telling me when to ride, how to ride. No one is telling me where I can and cannot go. No one is telling me what I can and cannot do. I have the freedom as a man. as long as I understand why I'm here. See, I'm not here to live my best life. I'm here in obedience to the word of Yahweh, and to understand that everything that I have believed, everything that I've come to learn as true, everything that I've come to learn as in my religion was a lie. All lies. I realize no government, no church, no religion serve the Creator. Only individual people who are looking for the truth, whether they from the bloodline of Yahushua or they are righteous strangers. Individual people who are looking for the truth, who they call now as woke. They are woken up to the truth and they recognize we don't want no part of this. But you, ladies and gentlemen, may not know where to go and what to do. I'm sending you to the ravenous bird. I'm sending you there because Yahweh has sent me there. But greater than sending you to the ravenous bird, I'm sending you to Yahweh himself. I'm telling you, get on your knees, stand up straight, lay down in your bed, whatever. Call upon the name. Call to him. You may not know the name Yahweh. You may not want to believe the name Yahweh, but call on the Heavenly Father. Say, Heavenly Father. Say, Creator of the heavens and the earth. You can't mistake who you're talking to right there. If you want, you can say, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I come to you today. Is what Maker Alban Yahushua is saying is true? Question everything I say. Put it before him. Ask him to lead you. Let his ruach. If you don't know what a ruach is what they so-called Christian call Holy Spirit. Let his ruach come upon you. Ask him to guide you into all truth. Do what I did. I asked him. I asked to know him. I want to know him. Not through a religion, not through some teachers, not through some government, not through some entity, but I want to know him. And because I uphold the Bible as the word of God, you see, I said, I want to know you from this. He sent me to the front page of the Bible, Genesis 1, which opened my eyes to start seeing the Creator like I've never seen him before. Starting to understand how he does things. Understanding, asking questioning. Genesis 1, start asking question. Why did we start a new day at midnight? When he says the light he called day. So how can a new day start at midnight? Where did the names of the days of the week come from when he never named any day except one? And he never named the Sabbath day Saturday. So where did Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday come from? Who named the days of the week? You see, start asking these questions. Does the day starts with the evening or the morning? And the evening and the morning was the first day. What is the evening? What is the morning? I started asking questions. When I got to the seventh day, I said, wait a minute. He separate this day, just like my thumb is separate from the other fingers on my hand. He put the seventh day down here. It's not like the rest of the day. But not only that, he blessed the day. He never blessed the rest of the day. He blessed this day. He hallowed it. He sanctified it. Why is it so special? Then I start asking questions. The first 3 days, he created the spaces. The second 3 days, he filled those spaces. The seventh day, a space was there, but nothing in it. And he made himself. He enthroned himself in his signature of, it's like his signature of the work. When you create something, it's like a beautiful portrait where the artist finished everything. He looks back on everything and then he put his signature. The Sabbath is his signature of creation. And I realized I'm asking questions. Then why do we worship on Sunday? I started asking these questions that led me to who I am today. I'm Maker Alban Yahushua, ladies and gentlemen. I am the son of the Creator, Yahweh, of the tribe of Loe, aka Levites. This is who I am. This is what I believe. This is what I accept. Here I stand, and I can do no other. The choice is yours. I love you guys. Thank you for spending these last 2 hours with me. I appreciate you guys very, very much. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I'm going to find something to eat. And until next time. But don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. Don't forget. Please share, like, and share what you've heard here today. But don't forget to go and like and share my YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell. It is Now Living in the Philippines. You can't miss it. Boom, boom. You punch up that word now, and Living in the Philippines is going to pop right up. Now Living in the Philippines. This is where I'm showing you. I'm taking this YouTube channel to show you what we're doing here, to open up to you so you can judge for yourself, because you're going to come here. You're going to come here. Eventually, you're going to be here, and you want to know what is it like coming here, what to expect, what not to expect. We're not holding nothing back, man. We're telling you everything. We're not holding anything back. You will see my life. You follow my follow my post, and you will see. And I'm showing you what his life is like here. And as when we're working on the land, we're almost complete, getting ready to complete that, owning the land. We're opening up the schools. You're going to see the schools where we're going to learn the word of Yahweh in the original language he spoke it to our forefathers. It's beautiful, man. Our language, the language that we that was taken from us, so we can see it for ourselves. No translation, no transliteration, no version, no version, but the original language it was written in. It's beautiful to be able to see it and understand it. So don't forget, go do it now. Now Living in the Philippines. Go to YouTube, punch up Now Living in the Philippines. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure to comment, and please remember to hit the notification bell so that when the content come out, you will be one of the first to get it. All right. Also, do me a favor and write in the comment section that you heard me on whichever platform you heard me on, so I know that you actually heard me. All right. All right. I love you guys. Really do. Get ready, man. Some things are happening. Come 2024 is the Jubilee year. Between 24 and 27, a lot of things going to happen. A lot of things going to happen. I don't know the window of opportunity for you to sell everything you have and move to this country where Yahweh can restore you. I don't know, so you can't take no chance. We didn't want to take no chance. We wanted to go say goodbye. My wife family comes from Trinidad. She wanted to go to Trinidad to say goodbye to her mom, and so her auntie who raised her. I wanted to go to Jamaica, where I was born, to say bye to my sister. I wanted to see my sister and to spend some time with her, but we didn't take any chance. We just say, you know what? The windows of opportunity is open now for us. We didn't want to take no chance. So we do the Facebook thing. We do the Instagram thing, not Instagram. We do the WhatsApp thing. We do the Telegram thing, and I can see them and talk to them. I would love to be able to hug them and be there with them, but I wasn't going to take any chance. So I'm suggesting that you don't take any chance either. Come over here, prepare a way for them, so when shit start hitting the fan over there, they'll have a place to come. Peace. Love y'all.